how do you manage organizational silos with a portfolio
Yes.
mindset to achieve strategic and successful project and program delivery?
So, as we kind of talked about this, prior in past conversations, Dharam, where I see silos mostly in organizations tends to be kind of at the individual level. So, you find those folks that they're accountants, they stay in accounting, they move up through accounting, and that's all they ever do. So you see that sometimes in IT, they're just a technical guy. Where I found in my career, where my competitive advantage started to really come in, is I became, you hear the jack of all trades, a master of none. I had to become a jack of trades and a master of all. There should be an individual expectation that you're always going to, if you're always uncomfortable, you're always going to grow. And put yourself in those places that, if you don't know a lot about IT, well, put yourself in the IT place and start learning, because that's where you're going to, again, that's why we do these credentials. It's uncomfortable to learn the PMP. It's not hard, it's not easy. And that's why most people don't do it. Now, with that said, talking about these silos, so I found my competitive advantages. I got really good at contracts. I have a master's degree in finance, so I learned a lot of the finance. I wanted the leadership piece, so I did PMPs and PgMPs, and I wanted to learn business development. But after a while, you get a real broad skill set, but you're also very good at all those kind of key areas. One of the again, this goes back to a book. It was written by the economist, and back in the day, I wanted to be a CFO. I have been a CFO once, but I wanted to be a CFO. So I read this book about CFOs, economists, as they try to look at this particular career field, and they talked about the CFOs are not always, and probably really shouldn't be, the person that was in accounting their entire career. Most CFOs tend to have lived overseas at one point. That's what they're looking for. Somebody that's had those broadening experiences. They want, oftentimes they're MBAs. They're not CPAs. So they're looking at the finance, but they're also often have been in operations. Why? Because finance fuels the operations. Maybe they sometimes. So if you can hop around to different areas, have a stint in HR. But I think a lot of people, they get so comfortable in their silo because it's not challenging. They got their degree in it or whatever. But try to move around. Try to move into. Again, I was a program manager, but then I tried to move over to business development because I wanted to be closer to revenue. But if you look at like what a CEO, he's got to be good at all these things. He's got to really kind of understand some stuff. So if you're preparing for that position 10 years down the road and know you kind of need to, move that way, that helps with the silos. Because again, for me, as I went through, I saw, let's be honest, in our careers, we see some people with some amazing talents out there, some people that are really good at their craft. How do you get them to, hey, you're in accounting, hey, what do you think about doing a different type of, and it doesn't have to be a PMP, a different type of credential. What do you think about maybe trying to move over to operations and doing that for a period of time? Helping people just to move outside of their space, because they will eventually be your project managers, they'll be your program managers. And that's how I think you kind of break up those silos that I see. And also, by the way, you might have a portfolio, but what about getting that people out of the portfolio into a different portfolio that's in the same company or a different industry? So that cross-pollination is really key. I will admit that I think that population that is built or inclined to continue to learn and grow is small. I think it's less, I kind of go with the Pareto's, idea where, 10% of your organization are your hot shots, your top producers. It's usually 20%. They're your very best. But then you have the middle organization, they're your heart and soul, they make up a good 70% of your contract. And then, the last 5%, 10%, you got to get rid of them because they're a cancer. And it's not that they're bad people. It's just that they're misaligned in the position they could actually be all-stars, but they're just not in the right placed in position, and I've been let go from positions before, and then in my next position I really did very well, but I wasn't aligned well with where I was at that moment. And so honestly, sometimes getting fired is a great thing. And I don't want to say fired, but getting released is a great thing for the employee and the organization, because again, just sometimes there's not a good match, but they're still good people. And anyways, so that's my thoughts on the silos and how you work with people, because I think it's the people that kind of create those silos.